DeAndre, in your opinion, and this will be for Mr. Highlander next, in your opinion, what positive accomplishments has the school board made over the last 4 years?
You know, that's a hard question because I'm not here to down the school board at all. And I've said this many times. I think Steve Highlander is a great person, and I feel like he does great work. But I feel like it is time for just something different on the board. And I feel like in the past 4 years, the only thing that I really think that I can think of is I like the way that they're moving. I like where they're trying to go. Do I think they're going to get there anytime soon if things don't change? No. It's going to be a while. But I do see where they're trying to go, and I feel they can get there if some things change. And that's my answer.
What are some of those, just to expand on that, what are some of your thoughts on what you could bring to the table that would get the school board to that point?
Well, I feel like we need to stop being comfortable and living inside of our offices. And that's not directed to just Steve, but that's directed to a lot of the current school board members. I feel like they're starting to get a little complacent on the board, and they're not understanding what their title and what their roles and responsibilities are on the board. And I say that because of where we are today and the conversations that we're having today. That's something that we shouldn't be having in the age-old fight of segregation, of whether it's by your skin color, by your social economics. We shouldn't be there right now. And I feel like if things get shaken up on the board and we get some new faces up there and new perspectives, those things that Superintendent Dr. Johnson is trying to do will be completed and will be helpful because there's no one fighting against it, there's no one resisting against it. You have new people with open minds that want to see change, and I feel like that's the best way to do it, is to get some new faces.
Same question you, Mr. Highlander. In your opinion, what positive accomplishment or accomplishments has the school board made over the last 4 years?
Thank you. Let me remind you, there are only 3 responsibilities that the school board and 3 powers that the school board has. One is they have one employee, and that's the superintendent. We do not have any control over the principals, the teachers. We can give advice, we can make recommendations, but legally we have absolutely no control over that. Many times I have advised Dr. Johnson, who is very vibrant and very young and very energetic, and I appreciate him very much. Do I agree with everything he says? No. If anyone thinks I'm sitting in an office, they have not seen me going around the schools. Our 11 schools I have been in almost usually 2, 3, and 4 times a month. And I try to go into as many PTA meetings as I can, and I try to get perspective from parents and from students and from teachers and administrators. But one thing we've done, we've increased transparency. We started Skyping everything. We put the finances on the website. We have, and I have pushed in our district. In our district, we have got under my leadership, and in conjunction working with the commission and other school board members, we've got the new school for Harrison. We opened Ullawa Elementary School. We got the 5 acres that we managed to push through to get for Ullawa High School. We got the addition on Snow Hill for overcrowding. If you are not aware, and most of you who live here are, this is the fastest growing region in Hamilton County. I mean, it is growing so fast, it's unbelievable. And we have the highest pupil-teacher ratio. And so we have a lot of things to deal with, and I am constantly talking to Dr. Johnson. But these are administrative decisions we have. We have control over the administrator. We do policies. We do not do procedures. That's the administration. And then we also try to be good stewards of the money given us by the 3 different governmental agencies. That is the limit, other than giving advice of what we can and cannot do. I think it's very important that we're in the schools. And I gave up a full-time job during my first year in office to go and went to a 49% job so I could spend, and I probably spend more time, especially since I've been chair, I spend at least 30 hours a week on school board business. And I am not sitting in a desk anywhere. I don't have a desk at central office. None of us in the school board do. We're all private citizens, and we're all going around the community trying to do the very best that we can. And I don't go to just District 9. I've been in the magnet schools. I've been in Howard School, where my friend Chris Earls is just now leaving and going to South Carolina. I've been in Brainerd. I have been in Woodmore, and it was quite often, I was in Woodmore within 15 minutes after that horrible wreck. And I'm going to tell you what, you may say it's unmanly. I cried when I got on there and I saw what happened to those children that were the same age as my grandchildren. I cried. I care.
Like I said before, I think you are a great school board member, but I feel like you say those things, but when I was at Central, you got elected my sophomore year. And the first time that I ever saw you before was at senior day, my sophomore year. And for those who don't know what senior day is, that's the day we recognize our seniors. We have this big ceremony to represent Central's heritage. And that was my first time meeting you on one of the biggest days of Central history. So I'm not saying that you're not going around to the schools, but it's just hard to believe when someone who's so involved with their school at the time, I never saw you until those days. And then, of course, when I got on the school board as a student representative, we had a better relationship. But it's hard to believe that. And then the last thing, and I'm going to pass it on, is how effective are these polls that you take? How effective are they? I know you say you take them and you reach out, but just how effective are they? Because it's really hard for you to figure out a time to figure out how something's happening through a poll.
Mr. Highlander, you have the opportunity for a rebuttal.
Studying government, random polls on both sides of the district are the most effective way I can do it. I've had community meetings. Usually I have them at Smith Elementary because it's in the center of the district between Ooltewah and Harrison. I've had several meetings there. And I'm sorry you didn't see me, DeAndre, when I was in the schools, but I was already coming in those schools. You can ask Mr. King, your former principal. I was regularly, I have happened not to have been in your class, but I've gone in classes, I've gone through the buildings time and time again. And, I have been there is all I know to say. If you want to check with any of the administrators, they'll tell you I've been there. I have not tried to disrupt classes. I've not said, hey, I want you to stop the learning process so I can talk to your students. But I asked for permission first to go in and co-teach or ask questions or say, you have questions of me. I've done that multiple times at elementary schools, at middle schools, and at high schools. And I think I've been a very, very active board member. I'm sorry that I didn't happen to go in your class, but I promise you I've been there. God is my witness, I've been there.